Coming up, Kentucky ranks second in a national study on e-cigarette use popularity.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Through the years, vaping has certainly grown in popularity, especially among our youth. A recent study found that Kentucky comes second only to Tennessee for e-cigarette use. Mariah Congito breaks down the study and talks with an expert about the effects of vaping.
We have some of the weaker tobacco control laws. We have some of the lower tobacco product pricing. We have a lot of availability of these products.
Melinda Ickes is a professor in health promotion at the University of Kentucky. She says these are all factors that contribute to use among adults and youth in Kentucky.
Unfortunately, Kentucky has led the way in tobacco use and lung cancer for quite some years. And with e-cigarette use, we know that around 20% of Kentucky high school students are currently reporting e-cigarette use.
According to a study done by Forbes, Kentucky ranked number 2 in the country for an increase in vaping over the past 6 years. Kentucky also tied for first with Oklahoma as the state with the highest amount of adults who vape every day.
We've seen a lot of health risks and complications with some of the chemicals found in e-cigarettes and vapes. And those could be things like making it difficult to breathe. You know, there's also a lot of nicotine in these products. And so then that has its own set of health effects.
Ickes says when vapes came on the market, the idea was for them to be used by adults as an alternative to cigarettes. She says they were never intended to be used by young people as a tobacco cessation device.
Many of them are turning to these products as a coping mechanism, you know, because they might not have another outlet.
Ickes says the risk for dependence is very high.
Some of the research is showing us those who become dependent on e-cigarettes and have never tried another tobacco product are more likely to switch to other combustible tobacco products like cigarettes.
Luckily, Ickes says there are a lot of state coordinated efforts going on, like hashtag I Can End the Trend and a high school youth advisory board made up of change makers who want to see something different for their future.
We need to use the evidence-based practices that are working in other states. You know, many are putting more funding into prevention and treatment. And the more that we build on lessons learned with other states that are seeing success, the better success that we'll have here in Kentucky.
Mariah Congito, WKYT.
The Forbes study says people use regular cigarette products more often than vaping devices.
We are tracking some cool and calm weather as we close out your Monday. Let's take a live look at First Alert Pinpoint Doppler. And as you can see, a clean sweep continues as high pressure is once again the name of the game as we go into this evening. Those current temperatures are cool, but not too bad for early February. Most of us in the 40s right now, down to 43 for Pikeville, also London, 44 in Jackson, 36 in Manchester, 38 over in Bell County for Middlesboro at this hour. And most of us fall into the upper 20s and lower 30s. As you wake up on Tuesday, so we are chilly as you wake up and walk out the door as that dry and mainly clear weather also continues overnight. Now we are watching out for possibly a few patches of dense fog, but overall not too bad as you wake up on Tuesday. Speaking of your Tuesday, if you like the weather today, you will love the weather tomorrow as more dry and mainly sunny weather is on the way and those temperatures top out above average once again. We see highs in the middle to lower 50s and more above average and mild weather is on the way by Wednesday, but we are tracking a few changes by Thursday night, also by Friday. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. One person is dead after a crash in Knott County. It happened around 4 o'clock this afternoon. State police say it involved a motorcycle and another vehicle. Police have still not released the name of the person who died or any other information about the crash yet. One person is dead after a single car crash in Pike County. That one happened yesterday evening on Highway 194 East in the Stopover community. Police say 52-year-old Billy McFarland, a mouth guard, went off the road and over an embankment. McFarland was pronounced dead at the scene by the Pike County Coroner's Office. A man who once pleaded guilty in a 2014 DUI crash that killed 4 people is in trouble with the law again. Hazard police arrested Sean Harden after a traffic stop. They say he had a suspended license and a warrant for his arrest. Police found money, suspected drugs, paraphernalia, and a gun in his car. He was taken to the Kentucky River Regional Jail. WYMT archives from 2015 show Harden was sentenced to 13 years in prison on 4 counts of second-degree manslaughter and an assault charge after the Breathitt County crash that killed 4 young men. Now, we reported at the time he would have been eligible for parole in 2017. 2 people are dead after a house fire in Letcher County. Officials with the Neon Fire Department were dispatched to that scene around 10:30 Friday night. The bodies of 78-year-old Mary Alice Adams and 59-year-old Jeffrey Lynn Sexton, both of Jackhorn, were recovered Saturday morning. Both Adams and Sexton were pronounced dead at the scene by the Letcher County coroner. Their bodies were taken to the state medical examiner's office in Frankfort for an autopsy. No foul play is suspected. A Campbell County, Tennessee community is looking for answers after a fire destroyed a restaurant and the owner died. Jared Austin spoke to people who are not only sad to lose a friend, but also a piece of the city's history.
A 50-year-old staple next to Stinking Creek in La Follette only has burnt metal, wood, and police tape left.
It'll never be forgotten.
People in La Follette say the Creekside Kitchen and Market was the local hangout for everyone.
It was just a special place. I mean, it's real special.
Ray Reese not only went there daily, but used to own the place in the mid-2000s.
You really miss the people. I mean, it ain't the work you miss so much, but you miss the people when you get attached to them. They come every day, you know, you get attached to them.
Reese says 34-year-old Kelly Kehoe became the owner a couple months ago. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says she was the one they found dead inside. Reese saying he not only feels for Kelly and her family, but also the entire community.
It destroyed me. I just couldn't hardly believe what had happened. And it wasn't the story so much, that lady losing her life. You know, that's the bad thing.
For some, it's more than a local hangout. Miranda Leigh Collins used to work there.
Oh, that place meant the world to me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it was my world at one time.
While everyone mourns the loss of a neighbor and a friend,
It's just devastating.
some hope new owners rebuild this historic La Follette hangout in the future. In Campbell County, Jared Austin, WVLT News.
The Campbell County Rural Fire Service says they found Kehoe in the kitchen area of the restaurant. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and Campbell County Sheriff's Department are working to figure out how this fire started. Kentucky State Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting that began with a car chase. The shooting happened on a Brannon Mill Road in Laurel County. Aline Sizemore, who lives on the road, says the shooting happened right in her front yard. Sizemore says the incident scared her and her animals.
Our inside cat that comes in and out jumped against the front door, and I said, what in the world? And about that time, it jumped up like it was trying to come through that door, so I let her in. She was terrified.
Sizemore says police remained at the scene for several hours. The suspect was taken to the hospital. Their name and condition was not released. Police said charges are pending until he is released from the hospital. Police officers across the Commonwealth are required to go through training through the police academy. But what about situations when an officer is tasked to learn through experience? Well, hazard police officers say thanks to a simulation training system, they get to work with around 3 weeks a year. They can bring these worst situations to life and be prepared for it when and if it happens.
Everything we do in the system, it has a bunch of scenarios in it. There's hundreds. It's skill-based. Basically, it's good training. It's a refresher, and it puts us in a real-life simulated events that could occur from a day-to-day basis, from patrol to tactics.
Richie says not only does this training system benefit their department, but it also is beneficial to folks in the community as well. Elkhorn City is working to find funding after the council realized a host of ongoing financial fumbles on the books. From payroll checks bouncing to more than $100,000 in pension funds never seeing the correct account. City officials say there's been a massive oversight within City Hall. With no audits done since 2019, Mayor Mike Taylor says the current council has not even been able to create a working budget, but has been under the impression everything was fine until a former employee was unable to pull from his retirement fund.
We get financial reports every month to vote on. They do. I don't vote on them. And it says what's there, so you pass what's there. And sometimes that ain't been, it's not there. And that's an issue.
The former city clerk has been replaced, and the state is auditing the city to help officials get an idea of the current situation. Earlier tonight, the city wrapped up a community meeting to address the issues. A bill has been filed to help support volunteer fire departments in the state. Last week, Eastern Kentucky State Senators Johnny Turner and Philip Wheeler filed Senate Bill 141. Wheeler says they hope to offer more benefits and establish refundable individual income tax credits to firefighters. He says with volunteer departments struggling, they hope this will help the communities that depend on them.
If these departments continue to fail, it really makes property uninsurable in certain areas of Kentucky, and particularly Eastern Kentucky, and that's also another black mark or another impediment to drawing businesses into the area to give folks jobs.
The bill, we're told, has been sent to the Appropriations and Revenue Committee. Christian Appalachian Project is opening its newest food pantry facility in Rockcastle County. Governor Beshear joined project leaders to cut the ribbon for the new Grateful Bread food pantry today. The new facility is more than double the size of the old one. Leaders say the extra space will allow more people to shop for groceries. Students are helping pack up boxes of meals that will be delivered to the community each week.
These students packing hundreds of meals every single week going to their fellow residents of the county is a pretty special thing. And whether or not people would get those meals without these students, you got to wonder. So a big thank you to our school systems.
Grateful Bread serves around 800 families each month and nearly 200 seniors. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, reaction from around the world as Britain's King Charles is diagnosed with cancer.
Plus, high pressure will bring some more dry and sunny weather tomorrow. Your Tuesday forecast after this break.